Hello everyone, welcome back to Snowbreak Containment Zone, and today we can talk about Cherno, a character that at first I thought was going to be really all that strong, or maybe not all that good, but when you get to playing her and you figure out her play style, you're going to find that Cherno is actually quite awesome. They did quite a few cool things in her kit. For example, one, she can be a damage dealer, or she can be a support. So they actually give you a little versatility with the character, which is awesome. She also has a lot of other nice little things in her kit that are pretty cool. Now, Cherno has a ridiculous amount of text here, guys. It is bonkers. I'm just going to explain this in the simplest terms possible. Whenever she uses her standard skill, she's going to create what's called self-uploading, a void. It's just like a little black hole on the screen, and she can put it anywhere on the screen that she wants against any enemy. So whenever a boss shows up, you hit your standard skill, it's going to show up right on them. And the beautiful thing about that thing is it does a ridiculous amount of dot damage, which is pretty nice. And you're going to have this little crescent moon, this little white crescent moon on there, and whenever you're shooting that thing, you're actually building up what's called enmity. Now, this is important because once you get so many stacks of enmity, up to 300 stacks, you're going to get a ridiculous amount of damage, guys. The more stacks of enmity that you have, when that crescent moon is completely filled up, you're going to do the most damage. So you got to be a little patient with Cherno when you're playing with her to get the most damage out of her, but you'll be very, very satisfied if you do. And when you level up her neural skills or her neuronics, you can see that that thing will increase the damage by 20% when you have full stacks of enmity. So when you get that 300 stacks, when that crescent moon is completely white and filled in, you'll get that 20% extra damage whenever she detonates. It's like a dot explosion is what it is. And this is another thing that's really cool in her kit. So whenever she's equipped with a chaos weapon, so either her Hallow of Hope weapon or the 100% battle veteran will work on her also. If you have, a chaos weapon on her, then shots that ricochet, and since she uses a submachine gun, she'll ricochet a lot, inflict target with 2 stacks of enmity. So you're already getting stacks of enmity. There's no cooldown on this. You're getting stacks of enmity like super, super fast because she's using a submachine gun, which has the worst ricochet effect in the game. They're taking one of the biggest caveats to the weapon that she uses and making it into a positive, which is awesome. And then we get into her support skill. Now, in essence, guys, she's just going to apply a bunch of AoE. She's going to be able to do a bunch of damage. You're going to have a bunch of dot damage while she's using this. And the cool thing about it is it has control. So you can actually slap on a navigator squad, get increased damage by 14%, a logistics set that's always available in the game. And that's cool. You can actually farm for it. And that's pretty awesome, guys. So I really like that they made her versatile with her support skill, with her support skill, as well as just being a solid damage dealer. And then her ultimate, which is pretty wild. So her ultimate, she creates a giant AoE attack from above that deals chaos damage and inflicts them with 100 stacks of enmity for 25 seconds. So you have to remember, whenever you do this ultimate, you're only going to have 100 stacks of enmity. You really want to try to get that thing leveled up as much as you can. I believe in the run I'm going to show you guys, I did kind of mess up on that because I just used my ultimate right away. But you always want to make sure the crescent moons are completely filled by shooting your guns at them. And then when it's filled, then hit your standard skill to blow up those voids. But whenever you have the neuronics leveled up, you guys can see that the slow effect increases by 4 seconds when it's at top. And that is very, very nice. That adds a lot of CC when you're using it. And also, if there are less than 3 voids of self-loathing on the field, self-loathing will form around the target until the limit is reached. So it automatically goes to the target that it needs to go to whenever you're using your ultimate, which is awesome, guys. And whenever you, like, her manifestations are nuts. Honestly, guys, M2 is about the best place to be with the girl, because when a shot hits target with void of self-loathing, has a 60% chance to inflict 1 extra stack of enmity on top of that ricochet effect she has from neuronics, which is awesome, guys. Like, she'll build it up way faster. You'll be able to do max stack explosions faster, which is awesome. Then her M2, she's actually going to increase the damage of the self-loathings blowing up by 10%, right? For each self-loathing that's on the field. So this is a huge, huge damage bump, especially with the damage you guys are going to see. I'm going to show you a max neural simulation run, and it just gets better and better, guys. I mean, for every 60 seconds the enemy target has, it takes 1 additional instance of chaos damage to equal 150% of Cherno's attack. Just a big damage bump there, a decent damage bump, and then, it's just more damage, guys. And in these later manifestations, it's really just a whole bunch more damage. So I'm going to be running Acacia. I'm going to be running Acacia Kagura on the team because Acacia is actually insane because you can actually throw a navigator squad, which you can put on Cherno as well, because this control effect will be applied. You'll get that 15% extra damage. She also has decrease in elemental resistances from using her support skill. I mean, Acacia is OP, guys. Mine's M5. She's maxed out, so Cherno's getting the max benefits of this character. Like, it's just huge. I have her weapon, which also adds damage to your team members. I mean, she's just a bonkers support. And we're also going to be using good old Tess. We're going to be using Tess on the team because with her set, you can actually increase your damage a whole lot by using her ultimate skill in the very beginning. You're going to get some huge benefits by switching to the next character and using them. Not to mention that whenever you do use the ultimate skill with Tess at the very beginning, then she's going to start coming in and doing a bunch of damage whenever you're using her support skill. But these damage buffs that she offers, especially the UE recovery by 40%, which is very good for her because remember, when you do her ultimate, you're going to get some huge damage buffs. And she's just M0 as well, my friends. Now, we're going to be going against a neural simulation. I did record some other runs. I actually didn't go against this one. I actually went against this one here, which I found really interesting. Let's pull up a run for y'all so you can see just how she is played. So on this specific team, we're going to switch to Tess. We're going to use her ultimate for the reasons I explained a while ago. From a logistics, we got Acacia there. We switched to Cherno. And now the objective, guys, is we're applying the buffs from Acacia. We're using Tess as a support. But what you want to make sure you're doing when you're playing with Crescent or with Cherno is you want to make sure that you're putting those self-loathing circles. Use your standard skill everywhere your opponent is at. Every single place that they're at, that's going to add extra dot damage to the opponent, which is going to help you, well, just do more damage. And if you notice, that crescent moon, if I'm going to back up just a little bit, and you guys can see that crescent moon right there. When that thing is completely full, that's when you're going to hold your E skill there, that standard skill, so you'll do max damage. And look at how much damage that thing does whenever, I let push play. Okay, boom, look at that. Did you see how much of that shield that thing destroyed? Like, that it's so important to shoot at the opponent to make sure that sphere is around the opponent and just shoot at them and build up that crescent, right? Every time I'm shooting, you'll see me building up more and more. You see it rising, see it coming all the way around. And when that thing is completely full, hit your standard skill, guys, and always have like any buffs that you have around. Like for example, I will on Acacia while I'm doing that because I do a lot more damage because he has the elemental resistance down, right? And obviously the navigator squad as well. But Cherno is insane. The damage she does with her standard skill is bonkers. The fact that she's got so much range with that thing. And I actually thought that a boss like this would be a nightmare with her. But this is a max neural simulation, my friends. And she is freaking gonna melt the dog crap out of this thing. I'm telling you, watch how much damage she does. Look at this stuff. Like, look at the damage she just did. She did like 1/8 of the white shield, and then she did like what, over a third, 40% of the actual her life bar, or of the enemy's life bar. I mean, you see the surprise on my face. You see the shock that I have because of how strong she is. I don't think she's the strongest character, guys, but I do think that she is OP. I do think that she has a lot of power, especially when you get used to playing with her and you know how to play her. It's always about making sure the spheres are on the opponent, always about making sure that you have that crescent moon completely filled up so you have the 300 stacks of enmity and you'll get the full amount of damage. And if you do that while buffs are being applied, whether it's Acacia or a Moxer or whatever character you're using, you're going to do ridiculous damage even against the shield. It's just nuts. Like, I'm honestly shocked at how powerful she is, right? Having extra spheres on the field doesn't really matter. I just try to always make sure there's one on the opponent, always, while I'm doing damage. As soon as the opponent disappears, teleports to another place, you'll see me use it again. See, I'll use it again. I use my standard, and I'll start shooting, build up that crescent, and whoop, boom! I mean, it's just... And if I would have had Acacia's buffs while I'd done that, we probably would have done almost twice as much damage with that last dot explosion that we did. Just nuts, man. I mean, woo! I mean, OP as hell with the CC as well whenever you do your ultimate. I mean, I'm loving Cherno, guys. Like, she really is a nutto character, man. She's got a lot of damage, a lot of power, an insane amount of range. And the thing about the range is that, she has a lot of range with her standard skill, but she doesn't really have a tremendous amount of range with her weapon. But that's okay. That's okay because, you know, submachine guns aren't horrific, right? As long as you're within a mid-range distance, you can still hit the target, which is all you need to do with Cherno. Hit that crescent moon, fill it all the way up so you get that 300 stacks of enmity, and then just blow that damn thing up with your standard skill again, and boom. I mean, it's just nuts. And remember, when you do your ultimate, make sure that them crescent moons all the way filled up before you blow up, before you hit your standard skill to blow those things up. And you'll do ridiculous damage, guys. She really is pretty damn OP. And as far as building her, what you want to do for her is obviously you want to give her the logistics set that is recommended for her, the Ziadi squad. At least that's how I'm going to pronounce it. This thing is OP as hell for her, and the substats that you want for her, you want attack, you want the attack by 10%, you want chaos damage, and you want alignment index. You want alignment index because it's OP, guys. Like when Cherno shoots a target, inflicts it with 2 stacks of enmity for 25 seconds, deals chaos damage equal to 30%. This is what keeps going up when you max her alignment index out. So when her alignment index is one of your substats and your logistics, your damage is just going to rise like crazy. So alignment index, chaos damage, and attack. I mean, obviously, guys, go for your attack and chaos damage because alignment index might be harder to get. But those are the 3 main stats you really want on the girl. And as far as her weapon, this is what's even better. The run that you just watched, I'm using her free weapon at tier 1. At tier 1, I'm using the free weapon. And this thing's damage, you see, this is that daze that we talked about earlier, right? She's going to get a whole bunch of extra damage whenever you're using this thing. And it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up, right? And I have it at tier 1, and you saw how much she melted it. This is something that's really cool about her kit, is that, yes, her weapon is better. Her limited weapon is going to be better, guys, guaranteed. But this thing, or the battle veteran weapon, will actually work really, really well on her because her standard skill is what does most of the damage. It's actually freaking nuts and pretty awesome because it doesn't really mean that you need her weapon per se. Yes, it'd be nicer, but you don't need it. This free weapon is more than enough, especially since you guys just saw that run, a max neural simulation getting destroyed, even with a tier 1 weapon. So that's just how powerful it is, guys. It just goes to show you how strong she really is. And I gotta say, I'm really happy with the character. So guys, let me know what you think about Cherno, and I do stream on Twitch and YouTube. Link Twitch in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody. Take care.